So I'm really starting to wonder if the Wachowskis are actually the new M. Night Shyamalans, because ever since The Matrix, all the movies have just been going. Jupiter Ascending stars Mila Kunis, Channing Tatum, and a couple of other dudes, and it's basically a sci-fi space sci-fi fantasy kind of movie. The story is honestly kind of convoluted and all over the place, and I'm actually trying to remember how it started. Basically, Mila Kunis' character is the heir. What the hell? Mila Kunis' character is the heir to a huge multi-space intergalactic corporation that is supposed to inherit the Earth, because apparently planets are harvesting grounds for some sort of like international space product or something like that. I'm describing it really poorly, but this is what I remember, and okay, the problem with this movie is that it has a lot of plot points that are just crammed into one. Although they were interesting, like admittedly, yeah, the story is pretty interesting, but the flaw is that they try to cram too many elements, too much plot points without giving, you know, adequate explanations about these plot points, so it all becomes just a huge jumbled up mess. Everyone's acting was just passable, nothing really spectacular. Like the roles of Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis could have been filled by anyone else and it wouldn't have made a difference. The villain, played by Eddie Redmayne, talks really funny. I shall harvest the earth tomorrow. I don't know, I can't do it. He talks like he's out of breath and he has asthma or something. I don't know. It's definitely not the best script in the world, and I felt like if the Wachowskis would hand it over to someone who's more experienced and better at script writing, it would be a lot better and less convoluted, because they're, like I said, they throw so many plot points at you that the moment you start thinking about one, it already jumps to another one and you're like, wait, what about that? Oh, sorry, no explanation given there. Going back to what's good about the movie, the visual effects, the set designs, the set pieces, all that I thought was actually really cool. From a sci-fi standpoint, I really liked all the sci-fi shit that was happening in the movie. You had some really well-designed spaceships, you had like character to those spaceships, you had some really cool futuristic sci-fi tech. But really the worst part about this movie is that the story can barely hold it together. And that's really the most disappointing part of this movie, because I really think it had a lot of potential to be a really solid, really good sci-fi. But as much as I wanted to enjoy all the sci-fi stuff and the story behind it, I just couldn't, because it was too convoluted and too much stuff was being mentioned without being explained fully. But I will say that despite the fact that the movie is really messy, I still did enjoy it enough to not be bored. Like at no point at all was I bored of this movie. I was laughing at some parts which I shouldn't have laughed at, and I was kind of wondering about certain decisions and plot points they were mentioning and throwing at me. But at no point was I bored and I was like looking at my watch. I wasn't doing that. I was pretty much entertained by the movie, but I would still caution against recommending it to, you know, someone else that's looking for a good sci-fi to watch, because there are so many much more well-crafted sci-fi. Like if you haven't seen Interstellar, go see that first. So even though Jupiter Ascending had cool stuff and it kept me entertained and held my attention for the entire duration, it ultimately falls flat with the script, the acting, and the story being way too convoluted. And I have to say, it's probably a good watch still if you're bored. So you just put it on while you're doing some work, or if you really have nothing to do and you're really bored, you want to watch a movie, you're curious about it, put it on. Maybe you'll enjoy it. It's not terrible. It's definitely not terrible, but it's also not that great. I think the most accurate description I can give about this movie is it's the most okay movie that I've seen so far. The most okay. Not the most terrible, not the best one, but the most okay. But anyway guys, if you've seen Jupiter Ascending, I'd like to know what you think of the movie, so make sure to leave a comment down below. Remember, if you enjoyed this review, please hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.